Board of County Commissioners. We have the Houston Astros World Series trophy with us this morning. That's pretty special. So we're just going to take a couple minutes before we start our meeting to acknowledge, number one, their championship win, but also the beginning of spring training is about ready to kick off here in Palm Beach County, and we have two beautiful stadiums and four wonderful teams that really showcase baseball in Palm Beach County. And delighted to have some folks with us, though, that represent both the Houston Astros and the ballpark of the Palm Beaches right here in West Palm Beach. So with that, I would like to invite up to the lectern Jason Wooden. Jason is Vice President of Marketing for the Houston Astros. Good morning, Mr. Wooden.
Good morning. First off, thank you all for allowing us to come and bring the trophy here. I am very, very fortunate. This is my second time that I've been able to come to you guys and actually have this conversation with you. Just to give you some context, 2017 was our very first time we built a brand new state-of-the-art facility here in West Palm Beach. So through that time, we have been able to bring two world championships to, one, the Astros organization, and back to Palm Beach County. So for me to say that you guys are a bit of a luck charm for us, I don't think I'm understating that. But what I do want to tell you guys is how much we appreciate the hospitality, how much we appreciate your partnerships, and how much we appreciate this entire city kind of rallying around the Astros. You are all part of our family, and I like to say if you win a World Series, what's the joy in that if you can't share it with all of your fans? So thank you all, and we really, really hope to see everybody. We kick off spring training on Saturday, home game for us. Trophy will be there. It'll be there for everybody to take a picture with. And this is where it all begins. It really does. It begins here in West Palm Beach for us to set ourselves up for success for the 2023 season. We're hoping to bring back another one to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, we can clap. And then I have Mike Sophia from the general manager of the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the commission. It's a pleasure to be here today. I've been in this role as general manager of the ballpark for about 3.5 months now. Oh. And it's just a fantastic place to show up to work every day. We really appreciate the partnership with the county and the entire community. My background was actually, I was George in a lot of different places. So we understand the economic development that goes behind a facility like this. And I think, from both clubs, just greatly appreciate the partnership and the support as we continue to do really cool things like have teams that win World Series championships. So thank you all.
Thank you. I'd like to invite my colleagues, if you have any comments you'd like to share. We'll start with Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you so much for being here. What an honor to be able to have this trophy and represent just the community and taking part in celebrating. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett, do you have any comments?
No other comment, but I do appreciate you coming here and sharing your trophy with us and your victory. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you. And Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, hi, thank you. Love baseball, longtime fan. Admittedly, I was an Atlanta Braves fan growing up because, everyone got to watch them on TBS. However, I'm super excited that you guys are here, and I look forward to attending a couple of games coming up, and hope everyone else can come out and share in the excitement of these teams. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Marino, our expert sports person.
Yeah, but not in baseball, So instead of throwing out the first pitch, I will pitch as in chip the first pitch. But gentlemen, it's an honor to have the trophy here, and it is wonderful, the partnership between the teams and the county and what we've done to keep baseball in Palm Beach County, because I know having 2 stadiums, 4 teams has really done amazing things for spring training in Florida and in our county. So much appreciated that you're here. Thank you for sharing with us. We look forward to seeing that here more often, so just keep it in mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And on behalf of the board, just want to thank you for sharing this trophy with us today, and welcome back to Palm Beach County and West Palm Beach. And look forward to a great spring training and a great season for you all, and look forward to coming out and seeing some of your games. Great family fun events. So thanks for being here, and have a wonderful day. All right. So I think we're going to take the trophy out, and then we'll start the meeting.
Oh, good, I can get my tea.
No. Yeah, she's out of town. He has been gone, so I thought he was going to be here this morning, but no. So it's just the 5 of us. Okay.
Just a reminder, and I plan to send this around, won't be here for the 28th.
Saw that, yeah. It's a cruise, right? All right. That's okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners zoning meeting for Thursday, February 23rd, here in the Jane M. Thompson Memorial Chambers. With that, I'll ask the clerk for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Barnett,
Here.
Commissioner Baxter,
Here.
Commissioner Bernard, Commissioner Marino,
Here.
Vice Mayor Sachs, Mayor Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, we're calling on Commissioner Woodward this morning. So please rise if you're able.
Dear God, bless this meeting convened in good will for the benefit of those we serve. Give us the strength to overcome the obstacles we shall surely meet, and the wisdom to make good use of the opportunities we shall surely find. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So, has this meeting been properly noticed?
Yes.
Thank you. And do we have proof of publication?
Yes.
All right. Do we need a motion on that? Do we need a motion? Yep. So we'll take a motion on this. We have a motion from Commissioner Woodward, second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor, all opposed. And so we have done that. Next is swearing in. Anybody who wishes to speak today, please rise, and the attorney will swear you in.
Do you affirm or swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? At today's meeting.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any amendments to our agenda today?
Yes, we have a few amendments to the agenda. We have 2 items for postponement. SCA 2022-29 Towns at Tidewater, which is a small-scale land use amendment, and the companion zoning application ZCA 2123, again, Towns at Tidewater. The applicant requested yesterday to postpone, so when we get to that portion of the agenda, we will need a motion. For consent, there's a B, reminder that disclosures will be needed for consent items. And then for the regular agenda under C, ABN DOA 2022-1281 Trotting Center, we have an amendment to environmental condition number 8. And that's
Okay.
it.
All right. With that, do we have a motion to adopt the amended
So moved.
agenda? So we have a motion by Commissioner Marino,
Second.
a second by Commissioner Woodward. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 7-0. Okay. All right, so now we're down to postponements. So we have,
Yeah, so we had a letter submitted by the agent, Jennifer Morton, on items 11 and 12, because it was less than the 5 days. It's at the discretion of the board, and you'll need to make a motion.
okay, would somebody like to make a motion
So
on the
moved.
postponement? We have a motion by Commissioner Baxter, second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 5-0. Okay. Next is, do we
that-
have any remands or withdrawals?
That was for both of them, right?
Okay.
11 and 12?
Okay. All right, end of postponements, remands, and withdrawals. Now we're moving to consent agenda. So I'm going to look to the county attorney. Do you want us to do disclosures before the item is heard, after?
Before.
Okay, all right. So let's do our consent, well, first, let me ask, does anyone want to pull any items on consent?
No, but I think.
Okay, seeing none. All right, so we'll do disclosures on consent. We'll start with Commissioner Barnett, and we'll work our way across the dais.
No disclosures for the consent agenda.
All right, Commissioner Woodward.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Marino?
Thank you. I met with George Gentile, Amy Kite, and Charlotte Pelton on consent agenda item for Bush Wildlife Sanctuary.
Is that on consent, or is that on regular? Bush-
That's on
Bush is
consent. It's on
Consent.
consent.
Okay, all right. All right, Commissioner Baxter.
None for consent.
And for myself, I have no disclosures. All right, so with that, do we have any cards on consent?
Not that I can see.
Is there anybody here who had submitted a card on any of the consent items? Not seeing anybody. Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Marino, a second by
Second.
Commissioner Baxter. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 5-0. Consent agenda has been approved. All right, moving on to our regular agenda. And we will start with item number 5. Is that correct?
Yes, so items number 5 and 6 run together. We have SCA 2023-00010, Soma Medical, which is a small-scale future land use amendment, and item number 6, ZCA 2022-895, which is the companion zoning application for Soma Medical as well. We can turn it over to the applicant for a presentation.
All right, you're recognized, Mr. Gentile.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I hope you'll be able to excuse my voice this morning, but I'm the only landscape architect that has allergies to pollen in this, probably the country. But anyway, thank you all. My name is George Gentile. I'm president of 2GHO Inc., and we're representing Soma Medical Investors, Soma Investors LLC this morning on a small project on State Road 7. You can see the history of the project. We've gone to the Zoning Commission with a recommendation for approval. In February 10th, we attended the Planning Commission meeting for the comprehensive plan recommendation from low residential, 1 DU per acre to commercial low office with a recommendation for approval. And we're here today to hopefully ratify all of the requests that we're doing on this project for a small medical and dental office on State Road 7. This is the aerial location of the site. It's just north of Lantana Road on the west side of State Road 7. You'll see the context of the land use application. I'm kind of combining both proposals in this because of not only my voice, but to make it brief for you all. We have, this is the context of the land use around it. There's industrial immediately to the south of the site. And then there is, of course, residential low to the north and surrounding. And then there's commercial uses all around the property as well as to the north of it. The proposed change would be commercial office low, a single story office building, which you'll see the site plan in a minute, will be very low impactful and will provide a location for all the residents in that area to utilize medical and dental facilities almost in walking distance from that neighborhood to there. This is the proposed site plan. Again, it's about a 9,916 square foot, single story office building with associated parking, buffers, meeting all the requirements of the code. There is a condition of approval that we've put in here that was put on to provide access to the south towards the industrial site. We've already incorporated that into the site plan so that you can see the driveway goes to the south on that. The comprehensive plan request is from low residential 1DU LR1 to commercial low office with also the same residential aspect. The rezoning is from agricultural residential to commercial low office, and we're asking for a conditional use A approval for medical and dental office. I've gone through most of this just to highlight the building height is only 1 story. We have 2 extra spaces on the site, so we definitely meet the parking requirements and the site, and that's it. Hopefully that I'll answer any questions that you might have, and I again apologize for my voice today.
All right, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Not seeing any at this time. All right, is staff?
Would you like a presentation? Staff is recommending approval of the land use and the zoning.
Does anybody? Nobody is asking for a presentation from staff. Okay, let's do disclosures now, I guess, and then we'll move into public comment if there is any. All right, so we'll start with Commissioner Baxter.
Just to clarify, this is item 5. We haven't gotten to 6 because they're kind of connected. So do you want disclosures for both right now or just 5?
There would only be a disclosure on
That's correct. There'd only be a disclosure on the zoning item, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it now, since it seems like we're going to be discussing both items at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. So I have no written disclosures at this time. We did receive a phone call from a constituent, and there was no site visit. for item
Thank
number
you.
6.
All right, Commissioner Marino.
None, thank you.
Commissioner Woodward.
None.
Commissioner Baxter.
Barnett.
Barnett, sorry. Too many Bs.
No disclosures.
Thank you. And I have no disclosures either. Okay. So is there any cards, any public comment on this? Okay, is there any further discussion? So we're starting with item number 5, and this would be a motion to adopt an ordinance for the Soma Medical Amendment.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Baxter and a second by Commissioner Barnett. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on now, we'll move on to the zoning application, and this is item number 6. And this one we're going to need, we'll go through 2 motions. First would be a motion to adopt a resolution approving the official zoning map amendment to allow a rezoning from the agricultural residential zoning district to the commercial low office zoning district, subject to the conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C1. Do we have such a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter and a second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Okay, and then moving on, we need a motion to adopt a resolution approving a Class A conditional use to allow a medical or dental office, subject to the conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C2.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Woodward. All in favor, all opposed. That motion also carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, moving on. We are now moving on to item number 7, and there's an accompanying item number 8, and this is for we'll start with the Hunters Crossing, FLUA. So this would be a large-scale future land use amendment.
Morning, Commissioners. Tyler Woolsey, Urban Design Studio, on behalf of the applicant. Similar to the previous application, as you mentioned, there's a future land use and companion zoning. Give one brief presentation for both. The property we're looking at today is known as the Hendricks property. This application is under Hunter's Crossing. The property is located on the south side of Lake Worth Road, just east of the intersection with State Road 7. It's about 36.9 acres. We're here before you today to request a future land use amendment, the adoption of LR1 to LR2, as well as the companion zoning amendment, going from the agricultural residential zoning district to the single-family residential, along with a couple Class A conditional use requests for 97 zero-lot line units and townhome units on the site. This application process started back in May of last year when we submitted the future land use and zoning shortly thereafter. We came before the Planning Commission back in November 22 in order to get their recommendation on the future land use, and then we were here for transmittal before the board on the 28th of November, which was transmitted unanimously. We received unanimous recommendation of approval from Zoning Commission, and we're back before you today with staff recommendation of approval. As mentioned, here's the property. Currently, there's a single-family home on the site, and you'll see a cypress wetland head down in the southeast corner. The current future land use designation, as mentioned, is LR1, requesting to go to LR2 as transmitted back in November. Current zoning district, as you see there, is AR, agricultural residential, requesting to take it into the single-family residential zoning district. In order to accomplish this development plan, 117 dwelling units, 11 single-family homes here, 97 zero-lot line units, and 9 townhomes that you see up in the northwest corner. Those townhome units will be for-sale workforce housing units built on site. So for a total of 117 units, and as mentioned, that workforce housing obligation, we have a total obligation of 14 dwelling units. 9 will be townhomes built on site, and the other 5 will be single-family homes built down in the Delray Beach area. It's a bit difficult to see on the screen in front of you here, but we're just showing the buffers. We have a significant buffer up on Lake Worth Road that we've coordinated with the community there. We also have substantial and increased buffers down on the south side of the property we've coordinated with the Legend Lakes community to the south. As mentioned, these are the folks that we've been working with. The Lake Worth Coalition and Legend Lake Estates have been great to work with. Pulte does a great job of letting us start community outreach early and be heavily involved with the community through the process. Here's a letter of support that was provided for us back in December from the Lake Worth Coalition. This has been submitted as part of the zoning application package. And we are, staff is in agreement. We're all on the same page with conditions of approval as listed in your backup. And so happy to answer any questions and respond if anything comes up. Thank you.
All right, is there any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, does anybody need a staff presentation? Okay. With that, let's see, we have cards. And we have
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make sure, we're just going to be doing
The
the
land
future
use.
land use right now, and then you'll do your disclosures before the zoning.
Okay, very good. So this is on the future land use, so no disclosure required, but we do have speaking cards. They've identified 7 and 8, so we'll let them speak now, so.
Okay, I have Paul Borsler and Brad Ricci? Did I say that right?
No, Biggs.
I'm sorry?
B-I-G-G-S.
Sorry.
Okay.
You're recognized, sir.
My name is Paul Bursler, and I'm president of the Legend Lake Estates HOA. Been for 14 years, and about 12 of those years, we have done nothing but oppose development and developers. What's different is with Pulte, they listened to us. They responded to, I think we've had 6 site changes that they agreed to, all for our benefit, and honestly, this is one that we gladly approve. Questions?
All right, thank you very much, sir.
And once again, Brad Biggs, I'm also on the board, and we just wanted to come here and say, yes, we really do like this. We've said it before in planning, we said it before to you all, and yes, we're okay with it, and Pulte has been great, Andrew's been great, and Ken and his group have been wonderful, and we knew something was gonna go here, and this seems to be the right fit.
Thank you. So we will bring this back to the board. So looking for a motion to adopt an ordinance for the Hunters Crossing Amendment.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter. We have a second from Commissioner Barnett. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move on to the zoning map amendment application. So I guess we need disclosures. So we will start with Commissioner Barnett.
I had verbal communication with Ken Tuma and May Carlson, Tyler Woolsey. No correspondence, no site visit.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
For Hunters Crossing, I had verbal communication with Ken Tuma, Tyler Woolsey, and Andrew Maxey, and that's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. I had verbal communications with Ken Tuma.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you. For item number 8, I had verbal communication with Ken Tuma.
Thank you. And for the item number 8, the zoning application, I had verbal communication with Ken Tuma, Amy Carlson, Tyler Woolsey, and Andrew Maxey. All
Mr.
right.
Mayor, is this for item number 7 or 7 and 8?
This would be for item 8. 7 doesn't require a disclosure.
Oh, okay. That was for 8. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, good. So we are on item number 8, and that is the zoning request. And we need, in this case, we're going to need 3 motions. We need a motion to adopt a resolution approving an official zoning map amendment to allow a rezoning from agricultural residential zoning district to a single-family residential zoning district with a conditional overlay zone subject to conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C1. We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Woodward. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 5-0. We next need a motion to adopt a resolution approving a Class A conditional use to allow a 0 lot line dwelling unit subject to conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C2.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Barnett. All in favor, all opposed. That motion also carries unanimously 5-0. And lastly, we need a motion to adopt a resolution approving a Class A conditional use to allow townhouse dwelling units subject to the conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C3.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter and a second from Commissioner Marino. All in favor, all opposed. That motion also carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you very much. All right, we are now on to item number 9. This is also two items in tandem. This is the Trotting Center FLUA and text amendment, followed by a zoning application on item number 10. So these are items number 9 and 10. First, a land use and then a zoning application.
Good morning. For the record, Jeff Brophy with WGI. This is the hopeful end of a long road on this project. A lot of work has gone into it, both from ourselves, and but mostly I want to thank staff here for what was started as a complex project as well as somewhat of a contentious one about a year ago. We've come a long way. We've done a lot of work and more coordination than probably anything that at least I've ever worked on through the process. I have a presentation. It is the same presentation you've seen September, a little shorter, but at the discretion of the board, happy to make the presentation. Otherwise, we just happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anyone like to see another presentation on this? Okay. We're not going to say that. Okay. We don't require a presentation. I don't think we need one from staff as well. No. Okay. So with that, we have cards, and we'll take the public comment first, and then we
Mr.
will-
Mayor, the cards for the item, for the comp plan or for the zoning item?
I think they
They're
both,
for
they put down
both?
both.
Okay, I'd recommend, and then we do our disclosures, just so that the commenters are aware of them.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, well, we'll start with Commissioner Baxter with disclosure.
For item number 10, our office received emails and support from constituents. I've spoken with Scott Backman, Ryan Zuckerman, Jeff Brophy, Brian Seymour on various occasions, and no site visit.
Thank you, Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. Verbal communications with Scott Backman, Jeff Brophy, Ryan Zuckerman, written communications from residents, and copies were provided to the clerk.
Thank you, Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, I had verbal communication with Scott Backman, Ryan Zuckerman, Jeff Brophy, Michelle Burns, and Risa McCarr, whatever, and correspondence through various emails.
Thank you, Commissioner Barnett.
Verbal communications with Risa McCarraher, Michelle Burns, Scott Backman, Ryan Zuckerman, Jeff Brophy. I do have correspondence, written correspondence, no site visit.
Thank you, and on my disclosure, I had verbal communications with Ryan Zuckerman, Scott Backman, Jeff Brophy, Risa McCarrer, and Michelle Burns, and my office received email correspondence that's been filed with the clerk. All right, so we are done with disclosures, and we will move on to public comment on these two items. All right.
Richard Moyrand? I always pronounce it improperly. I'm sorry.
Richard Murd, 7667 Park Lane Road, Lake Worth, Florida, in Heritage Farms. This was a surprise to us in an area with 1 unit, 10 acres. The commission has made a decision to change the comprehensive plan. I understand that. We have worked with the developer for a year, and the product is the least harmful. So I support this product. The negotiations were absolutely upfront and courteous, and I think we have done more than probably any other development you have ever seen, and I hope Heritage Farms benefits from that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have a card from Drew Martin.
Drew Martin on behalf of the Loxahatchee Group of the Sierra Club. We're not going to, if the neighborhood wants to accept something in their neighborhood, we're not going to oppose it. We are not enthusiastic about anything on the west side of State Road 7. I mean, they had zoning. They could have built, I think, 1 in 5, 1 in 10, or whatever. We think that was adequate for the landowner. I don't know. Is that correct, or am I guessing wrong? Anyway, they had some sort of zoning that allowed building, but there's a lot of open space there. West side of State Road 7, this is fairly close to the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge. I was out there Saturday, and it's really a beautiful place, and allowing a buffer for that's important. We are concerned about additional light pollution, additional traffic on State Road 7. All these developments are going to allow additional traffic and additional density. So we think that Heritage Farms was perfect the way it was with its existing zoning. But again, we're not going to go against the neighborhood. It's their area. They know it better than we do. But again, we would like the commission not to move forward on things increasing density on the west side of State Road 7. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right. It now comes back to the board. And we're starting on item number 9. This would require a motion to adopt an ordinance for the Trotting Center future land use amendment and text amendment.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Marino. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 5-0. And next, on this, we're going to need 2 motions on item number 10, the zoning application. We need a motion to adopt a resolution approving a development order abandonment to abandon a horse breeding and training farm, including accessory buildings and structures and an on-site water and sewage treatment plant.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Marino. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 5-0. And then last, we need a motion to adopt a resolution approving an official zoning map amendment to allow a rezoning from the agricultural residential zoning district to the planned unit development zoning district as indicated in Exhibit C.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Barnett. All in favor, all opposed. That motion also carries 5-0. All right, item 11 and 12 have been dispensed with. We are now on to ULDC amendments, item number 13.
Okay. Okay.
Do we need another presentation on this? You want a presentation? No. Need a presentation?
I don't think so.
Does anyone need we don't need a presentation.
You don't need a presentation?
think
Yeah, so this is the final adoption for the electric vehicle charging station. It was before you twice, and staff is recommending approval. We haven't made any modifications, but just wanted to reiterate that it isn't mandatory, that it is optional. We do not, one of the things that had been brought up during questioning was its location criteria. We do not have that embedded in the code for location, but it's optional, and we want to make sure that people have an ability to use it without having to go through an extra process to utilize electric vehicle charging.
Okay, is there any questions? Not seeing any. All right, I understand we have one comment card on this item.
Drew Martin?
Good morning again. Drew Martin on behalf of the Sierra Club. I'm so glad I got here on time because I hate getting up early because I work nights. I'm glad I got here in time to make a comment on these two items. We support electric vehicle charging. I don't think this is an onerous thing. I think it basically allows people to do something if they want to do it. And I think that you're going to see more and more electric cars, particularly where I work. I see more people buying them, and wealthier people are getting into the electric car. I actually had an Uber driver show up driving a Tesla. I thought that was pretty wild. I didn't think Uber paid well enough to afford a Tesla, but he was, and everybody who got in it was all excited to be in a Tesla. Very quiet, and they drive great. And so I've driven electric cars. I've test driven them, and they're really, they have a real performance level. I mean, there's a few kinks that we need to work out, but I think that they're on their way. And so I think it's helpful to the county to allow people to enhance the electric car charging stations if they want to put them in, and they should be encouraged to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right. We are looking for a motion to approve the second reading and adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Marino, a second from Commissioner Barnett. All in favor, all opposed?
I had my light
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry. Before we take the vote, Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
I just wanted to, I guess we kind of passed on the summary. I did have one concern that I'd like to maybe postpone this for later. Lisa, if you wouldn't mind.
This amendment, when we started this amendment, we were even discussing mandatory requirements. This doesn't include a mandatory, but it does allow up to 50% of parking lots to be electric vehicles, and we don't have any location requirements or limitations within the parking lots. So if the commission wanted any location requirements of where you could put these charging stations, we could do that, but we would have to come back at a later date.
You recognize Commissioner Baxter.
My concern was just, and it may never result in anything, I wanted to be diligent in our decision-making. And so they could right now take up all 50 spots closest to an entrance or closer to anything. And just as a mom who's had to deal with strollers and a bunch of other things, getting out of your car and walking into a store, it could potentially lead to some problems. I just wanted to bring you aware if no one else maybe have thought of that as being a potential problem.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Commissioner. What's the will of the board? Do you want to move forward? Do you want to? Certainly.
So right now, you said there's no location requirements, but what you're talking about is making sure that they don't take up all the closest ones? Would the handicap spaces still have preference over?
They would still have to have their handicap spaces, but we didn't, when we developed this language, we were being as liberal as possible, up to 50%. So we didn't put any criteria of where they're allowed to place these or any additional waiver requirements or locational requirements. It was really up to the property owners where they want to put them. So theoretically, they could line the whole front with electric if they wanted to, where we were allowing that up to the market decision by the developers.
Right. Commissioner Marino?
Thank you. Most oftentimes, they would be coming in front of us anyway for approvals.
Not this, with this change allows them to go straight to building permits, so we won't know, zoning and the board won't see where they put the station, where they put the spots in the parking lot. They'll just go straight to building permit.
But on a grander scale?
I'm sorry?
If it's a larger development, they would be coming in front of us?
Only the approval of the commercial plaza or the industrial plaza, but not where they would choose to put in the charging stations.
So there's no opportunity for a condition to condition it at that time?
No.
Okay. I want to say that I would think that the people that are doing this are smart enough to equally divide the spaces. So I'm not sure it's, right. I don't know what the pleasure of the board is. I think Sarah wants to postpone this and put a requirement in.
Let me just maybe, so there's nothing that would prohibit somebody from putting them, if they wanted to put them all up front, put them all up as close to the building as they could, but there's nothing to prohibit them from allowing non-charging vehicles from parking there either.
No, there's state, Jerome, is it state law that?
Yeah, it's state law that prohibits regular vehicles parking in those EV parking spaces.
So maybe the state needs to change its law.
I don't think that's not.
Can I?
Yeah.
Just for clarification, so if it's an electric vehicle charging station, a regular car cannot park there now through state law?
Correct.
Do we need to talk about this more? Maybe, I honestly, this is not something I've considered, so.
I think it's a market to decide. I don't think there's gonna, if they feel like it's to their benefit to put them there. I mean, I've seen them put, parking places for maternity women that are pregnant. I've seen them put other, specialized parking places for pickup, where they only, you're only allowed 5 minutes for a pickup or whatever, you're going to a store. I don't think it's something that the board should be mandating.
If we decide to mandate something, what would be the process right now?
If you want to make any changes or see some options, we can come back next month with, some kind of standards, which we didn't come up with yet, but we could. If you postpone it for a month, we can have some options on the table for discussion. And then you could just adopt it as is or with minor modifications on the placement of the charging stations.
I almost want to say I would hope that businesses would be smart enough to divide the spaces without us having to mandate. So I think that's the position I'm taking. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Barnett and then Commissioner Baxter.
I'm thinking we may need the additional 30 days or a month or so to think about this, and I'd like to withdraw my second on the motion.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
I would just like to move to postpone this 30 days.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter. So we had a withdrawal of the second.
Do we want to add instruction for staff to amend the code with the criteria for the location?
Well, I think if we're going to do that, then we need to have a further, what is that going to be? Do we bring it back here to decide how the parking lots are designed, or should we give them direction before they go out to design, how to design parking lots?
I think we could just give them direction to come back with location criteria for the location of the electric vehicle charging spots on a parking lot, yeah. I think that would be the simplest thing. I think it's up to the commissioner how they want to word it, but I think some sort of direction to staff as to what changes they're looking for would be appropriate.
Okay. Commissioner Baxter, you still had your light on. Are you?
I was just going to say, if you'd like me to amend it to say, I would definitely like to leave as much flexibility as possible for this, and I do agree with what was previously said. I would hope that anyone looking at this would use common sense to do that. I was just trying to prevent a future potential problem before it got there. So I would leave my motion, but wanting to know, is there wording or direction that you would like added to it?
Okay. All right, so we have a motion from Commissioner Baxter to postpone this for 30 days. First, let's see if we can get a second. Okay, so we have a motion, a second, so and we dispensed with the original, so he withdrew his second. Do I have to first ask if somebody else wanted to second the original?
So, he withdrew his second to the original motion, so that motion no longer has a second, is died, essentially.
All right.
So.
All right, I just want to make sure I didn't need to give somebody an opportunity. All right. So we now have a motion in front of us for a 30-day postponement, and then we'll see Commissioner Woodward and then Commissioner Marino.
Can I just ask, I don't like the idea of us putting an ordinance together on parking. Is there wording that we could put something maybe like best practices or an encouragement, but not a mandate? I don't like the idea of us kind of over-regulating something like this.
Yeah, we have Megan Houston here, who's our resilience director, and we can work with her on language on it. I'm sure there's words that we can come up with that would implement this or lay it out as options for the board next month.
I mean, I would like to encourage it, but we are talking 50% of a parking lot, and I'd like to encourage it, but I don't like the idea of us mandating or regulating parking.
And again, this is also phase one. We're going to come back in the future with a phase two with electric vehicles. So, but for this step right now, we could just come back next month with a couple ideas, lay it out, and take it from there.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Marino, you recognize.
I too am having difficulty with legislating this because at this point in time, 50% of the vehicles on the road are not electric. So it's not like 50% of the spaces are going to be electric. I can see them maybe stubbing in the electricity for the future, but I really don't want to mandate how somebody does their parking. Thank you.
All right. So it seems like, so we're going to, I guess the only thing I would add into the discussion is when it comes back, if this motion carries, that, yeah, I like the idea of best practices. I think actually using numbers or percentages would be really difficult, and then as things change over time, then would that mean then somebody would have to, if at some point in time that the vast majority of vehicles are electric, would they then have to come back in and get approval to do something different if we had actually put in numbers and where things had to go? And so there's enough to do as a commission and in land use and zoning to keep us busy without having to rearrange people's parking places as things change in the world. But that's just my opinion. All right. Any further discussion? You would like to be recognized?
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to say I do agree. Best practices, definitely the way to go. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention, something that I saw as a potential error. So in the 30 days, I think allows us to just discuss that.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so with this motion in front of us, postpone this item for another 30 days. Allow staff to come back with, you understand the direction?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. No further discussion. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 5-0. All right. And moving on to item number 14, residential future land use designations.
Yes, this is before the board for final adoption of a modification to the ULDC for residential. This was implementing policies that were adopted in the comprehensive plan in 2018. So these amendments, we did a minor modification. There was concern with language that we had stricken out relative to a setback for easements of 5 feet. We've instead of striking it out, we included it. However, we gave an option that if they have an ability to show how they're meeting the drainage, that they could go less than the 5 feet. So we want to make it more flexible and not just throw people into another variance process. So we added on to that. Other than that, that was about all the changes that we have done since then, and we're looking for adoption of that amendment to implement the comp plan.
Thank you. So we're looking for a motion to approve on second reading and adopt the ordinance. Is there any discussion on this item? No. We have a motion from Commissioner Woodward, a second from Commissioner Barnett. All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 5-0. All right. So we've now ended our regular agenda, and we're moving on. Comments, County Attorney.
No comments.
All right. Zoning Director.
Yes, we are going to make a presentation on the zoning division, and we hope you're all riveted in the exciting world of zoning. And we're going to start with an introduction from Whitney.
Good morning, everyone. Is this on? Okay. Hi, good morning again. My name is Whitney Carroll. I'm the Deputy Director for the Planning, Zoning, and Building Department. As some of the other departments are coming before you, presenting their operations and some of their policies and procedures of how they operate, we wanted to highlight the zoning division for you. Last month, you saw a little bit about our planning division, and so today we're going to highlight the zoning division. But first, I'd like to start with how the zoning division fits into PZB as a whole. The department is comprised of 6 departments: admin, planning, zoning, building, code enforcement, and contractor certification. And as all aspects of the, actually, next slide, please. And by the way, the Planning, Zoning, and Building Department has approximately 411 persons on our complement, so it's quite a large division in the county. And so everything that you see on the left and how it goes from what's on the left to what is on the right, to get from there to there, from the left to the right, you have to come through Planning, Zoning, and Building with applications to get you there. So that's basically a little bit of an overview of that. Last month, you heard from the Planning Division and the Department of Housing and Economic Development about the need for housing and concepts behind density increases. Today, we'll show you how those goals, objectives, and policies the board develops with those agencies transforms from visions to reality. Specifically, we'll present the development review process, the land development regulations, property development regulations, and emerging issues and strategies that we're currently looking at. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lisa.
So first, a little bit about land development regulations. We're required to have them by statute, and they're also required to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. In our county, we assemble our land development regulations in 18 articles within what is called the Unified Land Development Code. So ULDC, or code, is a term that we use all the time. And every time we revise these ordinances, we're before you, just like we did a second ago with the residential amendment. We present changes to you that have first gone to the Land Development Regulation Advisory Board and LDRC, which is the Land Development Review Advisory Committee. That's a group of people that reviews everything that we do, present to you for changing these codes. And then typically we'll advertise them, come to you for a first reading, sometimes a second reading, and then you adopt them by ordinance. And why do we have them? We have them in order to ensure the vision of Palm Beach County as the elected officials and the residents decide. We have these regulations to ensure a strong quality of life and vibrant economy. We're trying to ensure compatibility with adjacent residences as projects come forward. We're ensuring that the new development has water, sewer, paving, drainage, and other public services available with development. We're also looking for public safety. You have land development was just here, and traffic. They're looking at traffic circulation patterns. Ultimately, we're looking for a sustainable development pattern, and we're looking to preserve the environment, trees, and such. So all of these regulations play in, and we update them, as Whitney said, for emerging issues and changes. And there's how that works. And so here's a photo of the future land use map of the comp plan. Zoning division only does, and PZB only does unincorporated county. A lot of the items before you are countywide, but not our role with these applications. These are only the colorful areas on that map. All of the properties in the county have a future land use designation, which sets the density and the intensity, and then every one of those properties also has a zoning district as well. And they're all governed and must be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Now, sometime the comp plan revises before the code could catch up. The item on residential that we just adopted took like 5 years for us to get that ordinance because there was a challenge. But we could be more strict in the ULDC and our land development regulations than the comp plan, but we can't be more liberal. And that's something that's really important. And sometimes you advise the plan, and the plan will override until the code could catch up. And so now to talk more about how land development regulations, uses, and districts work, I'm going to turn it over to Jerome.
Jerome here with the zoning division. So each development has to be consistent with the property development regulations of the zoning district, and that relates to the setbacks, the building coverage, lot width, and the lot depth. The county has these different geographical areas designated by tiers and overlays. We have various zoning districts and uses, which are outlined and regulated in the Unified Land Development Code, and we also have various development patterns throughout the county. So on this slide here, you'll see the different uses and zoning types. We have the commercial, the residential, institutional, you have the agricultural there, and the industrial. This side is the civic and government uses. You can see the fire station, you'll see the school and the public parks. So all these put together achieves a certain development pattern. And development pattern is basically the way buildings and activities are arranged and organized, and this gives character to an area. So the county, again, has a range of patterns from rural to suburban to urban. As you can see from this slide, you'll see the rural, and that example is the Everglades agricultural. And on the right side, you have the urban, which is basically downtown West Palm Beach. So all these land development regulations are designed to implement a desired pattern. So as planning division has previously presented on the tiers, development varies by tier. So here we have the rural residential, and this example of the rural residential is the Calusa development. And the rural residential is usually characterized by lots, 5 to 10 acres. To the right side is the rural commercial. This slide is the exurban residential, and these lots are usually range from 1.25 acres to 2.5 acres. And here we have the exurban commercial again. It's kind of similar to the previous slide. So pre-1990, we had these residential suburban subdivisions with cross streets, and these had densities ranging from 1 unit per acre to 12 units per acre. As with the previous slide, again, you'll see that the commercial to the lower right side, right corner of the slide, is very similar to the previous exurban and rural. So here, since the late 1980s, the board made a conscious decision to move more towards these planned suburban developments. You'll see that these developments have more landscaping, they are HOA managed, they have civic dedication. Civic dedication will be presented later. And they also have limited access. You see with the green outline, that's the rec area, and in the yellow outline, we have the commercial. So on this slide, you have basically shows the difference between the urban versus the suburban. The urban there shows that high density, less surface parking. Over on the right side, you have the suburban, which shows more landscaping, very vehicular dependent, and it basically shows the difference between urban and suburban within the county. And as I said before, the county has all these. The county has the urban, suburban, the exurban, and we have the rural and the glades. So to get to these points of development, all applications go through a development review process. I'll turn it over to Wendy to walk you through that.
Okay, so the development review. So all the applications that you see before you, I've gone through some sort of process. The zoning division, as of last year, we processed over 14,000 applications and inquiries. And so you're only seeing a small percentage of that. So a lot of the calls that we get, people want to know what they can and cannot do with their property. But the ones that are coming before you, you guys have set the policies and procedures that they need to be seen before you to make those decisions. So from the highest level of process, we have the comprehensive plan amendments, of which we had several of them on our agenda. So you are making the policy and legislative decisions to entitle the property to a certain future land use, and then the companion zoning application to implement that future land use. With some of our public hearing applications, you'll see those rezonings, you'll see use approvals, and sometimes variances or whatever go before the zoning commission. Variances and waivers are done by your appointed members for zoning commission. And then after it goes through the Board of County Commissioners or the Zoning Commission, it comes back to staff to implement those conditions of approval. Some uses aren't seen by you because they are less intense as determined through our use process and can be done administratively. And in some cases, they might even go straight to building permit because they're even less intense or meet those criteria that have been established. Incorporated and coordinated with the land development regulations for our engineering. Lands need to be platted, so there's a process involved once it goes through our process to plat those parcels into legal lots. We'll have the zoning administrative review, which I had mentioned earlier, so sometimes uses don't have to come before the board, and they'll go straight to zoning or straight to building permit. Now, the building permit process is where we're actually implementing what we've approved. You don't necessarily see all those drawings, but once they have that conceptual drawing before you, they're actually having their engineers do their drainage plans and their architectural drawings in order to make sure that it works. And in some cases, they might have to come back administratively and shift the building a little bit or ensure that we have the right parking or drainage to incorporate that approval. And then finally, if it happens to be something in commercial nature, or if they're doing a business tax receipt through a homeowners, they'll apply through the tax collector for a business tax receipt and come to the zoning division as well for a sign off to make sure that that use is in the correct location. So our zoning applications are mostly privately proposed developments, again, administrative or public hearing. They'll have a final site plan or master plan, variances and waivers we're analyzing along with those building permits. Our development review process, we're involved in coordinating with at minimum 17 different agencies, from engineering to health department to the planning division. So multiple review agencies, they're all looking at the applications to ensure that their requirements are met, and we come to some final conclusion and agreement where we all can sign off on something and present it before the board. We have comments and certification issues. We have now become more electronic, so people can actually submit their documents online from their offices. So we've tried to come more up to age on electronic view. We meet monthly, if not bi-weekly. And I want to mention too that the statutes have expedited our process as well. So when you see these applications before you, by statute, we're driven to get them before you within 180 days. And administrative applications are supposed to be done no more than 120. The building division permits are even more, they're at 45 days. So though it may seem like a long time, it's this back and forth where we provide comments in 2 weeks, they respond, we respond. So it seems like it's long, but it goes back and forth in order to get the product to present before you. The development review officer is ultimately the zoning director, and we coordinate with these multiple divisions, as I've mentioned, planning, zoning, and building, code enforcement, the county attorney's office. We're sending notices out to the public. We coordinate with our public service agencies for concurrency, traffic, drainage, all the drainage districts, water utilities. There's multiple in the county, and we have them all listed here along with our environmental groups. And more recently, we've added resilience and sustainability to the review. There are 18 articles in our Unified Land Development Code. Ultimately, Articles 1 through 8, the zoning division oversees, and then the remaining articles are part of the other departments and agencies that review. We also have small sections within the County Code of Ordinances that also come into play as well. So, for example, if somebody wants to do a bar or a liquor license, we might have to go to the County Code of Ordinances in addition to our land development regulations. And then, of course, the other departments and divisions with the health department and our coordination with agriculture and the Department of Children and Families and ACA for some of our other licenses. So we do multiple amounts of coordination with different agencies in order to get the best product out there and approvals granted for our residents in the county. So with that said, as part of our review, now we're looking at our property development regs. And our property development regs ultimately are to regulate the different districts. We're looking at the health, safety, and welfare of our constituents in the county. This might include parking, where the parking is, whether they use pavement or asphalt or grass, the drainage that goes along with it, the landscaping, the buffers, the setbacks of those particular structures and their compatibility, the heights of those buildings, where accessory structures might be located with sheds or fences, detached garages, access to the property. Is it on a corner lot? Should it be from the main road? Should it be from a side road? The circulation within the site. Does it make sense to have one-way traffic pattern or two-way traffic pattern? Lighting, how high are the lights? Are the lights shining on the residential properties? Hours of operation, and again, the accessory structures and uses. Property development regs talk about building coverage. This has come up a couple times on FAR and how many uses. So this is a kind of an example of 100% FAR, where it could cover building coverage, cover the whole lot, and it still be 100% FAR. You might use half of the lot and still be at 100% FAR or a quarter of the lot, and it ultimately ends up going up as we implement FAR through the comp plan. This is an example of a subdivision plan, many of which you've seen today, and how we deal with the location of those lots and how the lots terminate in cul-de-sacs, or if they go through, or will they access major roads, where those lakes and drainage are located, how they can preserve the vegetation that's on site. So we take all that into consideration and try to weed all that out before those applications are brought before you. And then again, the different types of housing or the different components of a commercial development or mixed-use development, where we have the residents next to residential, or lower the heights as we try not to impact the adjacent developments. These are some of the common things, again, that we are looking at: where the buildings are placed, the side setbacks, front setbacks, where it is along that right-of-way, where the garages are, where their pools and screen enclosures are, because we will hear complaints from the neighbor. It's a zero lot line and their generator is too close to my property line, or their fence is too tall next to mine, so we set up these property development regs to protect, but also to allow people to use their best use of their property. So these are, again, some other things that we process, where your sheds are in relation to your house. Some of the things that will come up in the future is that we regulate the houses, but as time has gone on, people will convert their structures to have illegal housing in their sheds. And so we're conscious of that, and when a shed is next to a property, it's really just used for storage versus if you have an accessory dwelling where somebody is actually living and it has different impacts. Need for drainage or well and septic, water hookup. So with that, I know we have turn it back over to Lisa.
So in preparation of next month, we're going to talk a little bit about a follow-up to the code enforcement and commercial vehicles conversation. And so to talk a little bit about our residential zoning. We've got a wide variety of residential zoning districts, from one house on 10 acres to our highest future land use designation is 12 houses an acre, but with the density bonuses, you can get workforce and TDR, you can get up to around 27 units an acre. And that changes, that's a broad spectrum of different types of housing. And something that you can do in residential zoning districts is non-residential uses. There's a need to balance residential areas. So there's certain uses like civic and institutional, like places of worship, assembly, utilities, parks, government, daycares. Those uses can exist in residential zoning districts, sometimes with a Class A approval approved by this board, sometimes with just an administrative approval. You could also do commercial agricultural operations with no approval, since if they're protected by right to farm. And we have a lot of home-based and hobby farms in some of our rural areas that don't need an approval as well. Other uses you can see in residential zoning, depending on the frontage, is garden centers and landscape service. And finally, we allow home occupations out of homes. All different homes, all different types can have a home occupation. In some instances, a contractor storage you can have as a home occupation if you have 5 acres and up. If you have 3 acres and up, you can have a landscape service out of your house. You could have limited pet boarding. That's the type of use that you need a Class A approval from the board to do. You can't just do a limited pet boarding out of your house without an approval. But a lot of our home occupations we never see. They just come in, they do their they do their home office, they do teaching out of their house and such. They don't need an approval other than they get a business tax receipt. So I wanted to show you, this is a house. This is a typical house that actually started with a home occupation in the 1930s. And it was a veterinarian, and he worked out of his house, and he'd go with his black bag to treat animals on the farm and such. And over time, he got more and more clients. And by 1980, he was having people come to his house. Luckily, he was on a rural highway, so he was able to get the zoning that he needed, and he expanded his business. And today, so there's a house, home-based business. He's providing those services off-site back in the 1930s. And by today, he has expanded into one of the largest veterinary commercial operations in New England. And you can see the differences from a regular house, which is still there, and they just built around it, is there's on-site parking, a lot of on-site parking. There's a lot more indoor surgical centers and suites and boardings and all sorts of things, and an equine unit at the back, I believe. So, that sometimes home occupations, they could be itty-bitty, and then they could also grow. And when they can grow, typically is when they have the frontage on the major thoroughfare, because I don't think this would have happened if he was on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. He happened to be, like I said, on a rural highway. And emerging issues. So housing. The staff has been before you last month. Everybody is talking about the need for housing, whether it's the planning division or DHED. So what you're going to see from us coming soon is changes to address housing in the county. We're seeing more and more projects coming in with higher densities on smaller lots, and they're coming in next to houses that already exist. Like the item that was postponed today, they're asking for townhomes next to houses on 5-acre lots. And we try very hard, as you saw with the success story with Hunter's Crossing. The applicants and the agents now are trying to work together and get a product with a transitional use where there's separation and buffering and strategies to achieve compatibility. And that's something I think you'll see just that the neighborhoods are working with the agents to do. But if we are going to increase densities through some of those concepts and get 25 to 30 to 35 units an acre, we are going to have to look at flexible property development regulations and also waivers to waive some of those property development regulations. Because to get that suburban look that Jerome showed you, we have a lot of on-site parking, a lot of landscaping that's required because our codes are suburban. You cannot do downtown West Palm right now with our codes. So if the board wants to take areas and get more urban, we're going to need either the flex regs or we're going to need maybe some urban PDRs for some areas. The other alternative landscape plans and parking plans, we're also going to work on the code to try to remove the redundancy and complexity. If you've ever opened the big book, which is over there, it's like this thick, there's a lot of internal circular references, and it'll refer to something on another page and it'll refer to something somewhere else, and this is a challenge you'll see next week when we explain the trucks. We're going to try to not do that and try to have cohesive sections that just talk about what you got to do, where you got to do it. And the complexity of the code is why we have pre-application meetings with agents for zoning applications. We have them come in and we're trying to look at all of the aspects of the project so that we're all clear and on the same page. Another thing that we're going to try to do, and you'll see before us, is address non-conforming uses. So our code, and I'm going to go ahead to a picture, our code was actually more urban in the 70s and 80s to some extent, like when those buildings were built in unincorporated county, than they are now. So our codes have gotten more suburban, and it will be very difficult for that area up near Tequesta to rebuild because we're more suburban. So those are things we're going to have to look at as well, allowing people to develop how their property was originally approved. And then recreation to employee housing, we'll be bringing that to you soon. As also, we have a next item on the agenda for using civic pods for residential. So here's an example of a project that everyone loves. It's uptown Boca. This has needed about 15 to 30 variances. And it's very popular, it's very successful, but it has commercial with residential and a little bit of a modern design. But it took so many variances, and we don't want new development to have variances. We would rather have the flex regs that they can come in and do, you know, a world-class project without having to get a variance. You know, these are some photos from the site. And then here's another thing that you're seeing. This is a commercial plaza at Lantana and Jog. We're seeing some reuse of commercially approved land for townhomes and such that the market for retail is probably never going to be the same as what it used to be. So we're seeing some reuse and more townhomes and projects coming in that are smaller and tinier, and they don't fit that large plan development type of look. And here's something, a plaza that I love in Delray. It is not what you would call urban downtown, but you can see this is a commercial plaza where they put the building to the street. They have different kind of hybrid kind of uses. And so that's some of the things and emerging issues you'll see from us soon, and that kind of concludes our presentation. Thank you so much.
All right. Commissioner Marino, you recognize.
You know I can't go without questions and some comments. One, I want to remind everybody, and I'm going to say this over and over again, 0 lot line homes are single-family detached homes. I don't think they should be referred to like they're orphan children. You can go to Old Palm and buy a 0 lot line home and spend well over $1 million. So when we talk about single-family and 0 lot line, I want people to understand 0 lot line homes are still single-family homes. So I'll mark that off my list. I like the idea of the pre-app meetings. I believe I asked staff a while ago to start making pre-app meetings, come up with some ways that pre-app meetings would be mandatory, because I know when we have newer developers in the county, they're not so aware of how we work. So I want to make that reminder, Patrick, I think. Okay, thank you. And also, you know, one of the and I think you're trying to address it, one of the complaints that comes to our office is how long it takes for things, for approvals, for permits, and I realize that everybody is short-staffed at the moment. And I'm glad that you're trying to weed down the code book. I mean, it's on my desk, and I'm like, I could use this as a weapon. But anything you could do to speed up the process, that is one of our main complaints, so I'm happy to pass that on. And when you talk about flex regs, what are you envisioning?
Well, we used to have something called an alternative landscape plan, and we need to get back to having that, and alternative parking regulations. Those are probably the two critical things that when a property wants to do something a little bit different, it doesn't quite fit in those suburban regs. So rather than having variances, which is a very hard standard to meet, we would rather a project come in and explain, we are trying to achieve this, and we don't fit the suburban parking regs because we want these, you know, our design is different. There is a medical office facility right now that we're looking at that the bulk of their clients, they have their own little bus, the little vehicle. It's not, you know, not a bus, but, you know, a small
It's like
vehicle.
a Sprinter.
Yeah, and they pick up their clients. That's a service that they offer with their medical office. So they're like, our clients aren't driving. We do homebound seniors. We provide that service and pick them up, which is kind of brilliant, because I think that's a big challenge for seniors living at home and trying to be independent and not going into a congregate living, is that transportation is a challenge. So they're coming in and they're showing, you know, we don't need as much parking for our use because we have a service. So we want to have an adaptable code to allow property owners to come in and justify these are reasons of why we think we want to bend the rules a little bit, and whether we come up with type 2 waivers that the board approves or some other approval process. We think that's more of a successful route than doing variances, because it's just a completely different kind of culture and mentality. If they're saying, we're going to be flexible, we're going to work with you to get the best product for your client.
And also, Senate President Pasadomo, with her Live Local bill, is moving quickly. And one of the things that we've spoken about in the past was really a comprehensive plan of all the malls and the dead strip malls in the area, because as you showed previously, some of those malls, like, and I'll use the Gardens Mall in Palm Beach Gardens, there is a whole plan in the future, if they ever want to like rip away the Sears building and put high rises there and do infill, which of course is important to do on a transit corridor and an employment corridor. And I think that that's something that I would greatly encourage us to do. And if I'm not mistaken, the future land use on a mall is residential? It includes
Typically,
residential?
The county was a little unusual in 1989, where we gave almost every commercial property an underlying land use designation that's residential.
Okay.
And so you could utilize both the intensity and residential, and most of them are 8 units per acre underlying, and then you can get the bonuses and such.
Perfect. And last, can I get and I'm sure we all would appreciate it, can we get an electronic copy of this?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Woodward, you recognize.
Yes, thank you. I wrote down a couple of things too, a couple of questions. First of all, thank you so much for this presentation, and I love the visuals because it really kind of puts it into perspective. First, I'd like to just say thank you for talking about increasing density on some of this. I know that comes to us a lot with the increases of density, but the way I'm looking at it, land is scarce and land is valuable, and if we keep limiting density, we're just going to gobble up whatever we have left. So I like the idea of increasing it in the urban, suburban tiers and making this more palatable, shall we say, for our applicants and for the neighbors. But the big part of that is compatibility. And, you know, as I've said before, everywhere I drive now, I count floors, I look at everything, and I'm surrounded by every different type of development there is. but it's compatible, and mostly because it's pretty. It has landscaping, there's architectural interest. I've talked to several other municipality members who are dealing with some of the same issues. And what it comes down to is, people hate construction, they hate what's happening, and then when it's done, it's pretty, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's a part of my community now. So I think that's a big part of what we have to look at and encourage, is to make sure that you don't just put a concrete building with rectangle windows, and no one wants to see that, and no one wants to live in that. So if we can continue with that, and like I said, make it pretty. I'm happy when there's trees and landscaping and sidewalks and all of that. And I would also agree with the redevelopment. I know I've asked for obsolete properties or, any of that. I've gotten some feedback on that, but Uptown Boca is a good example. None of you have been there, it's fantastic. I have friends that live there. The place is rocking and rolling. They love it. So more of that we could do, and we have properties right now that are developed but not in use. And so we could redo some of that and get some units built and increase density as well. And the last thing I would like to say is thank you for talking about trimming the code or working with the redundancies in the circular. I think that would help you guys too, and the applicants. And I know when I get into it, I fall into the rabbit hole, and it's like, how do you guys manage? So thank you for the whole team that's working on this, and I really appreciate this presentation.
Thank you. I had a couple things. Waivers versus variances. I came from serving on the planning board for the city of West Palm Beach for quite some time, and they primarily use waivers. They seem to be much easier to work with, and so has there been a philosophical change here at the county to move towards that, or?
I think so, because to me a variance is, the rule is there for everyone, but it doesn't apply to me. And coming from the planning division, that doesn't sit well. And when those rules are for a suburban design, that not every inch of the unincorporated county is suburban. We have some that are more rural, some that are more urban. And Lorenzo Agamo, the former planning director, when he was originally interviewed in 2002, he said, "Why, if you have all these tiers, why don't you have 3 codes? Why don't you have an urban code, a suburban code, and a rural code?" And, he got the job as planning director, and now he works with us as our principal planner. But, and that's really true. And that's something, waivers, and also maybe more urban PDRs. We've got a couple projects coming in that want to do 35 units an acre. Well, to do 35 units an acre, our parking basically forces 14 units an acre, because there's so much parking required that you just hit like a brick wall unless you ask for a reduction. Fount, which came in recently on Okeechobee, and then the R80, which I don't know the new name of R80, but it just opened. That's got the 5-story building, but both of them needed waivers with the parking, but yeah, waivers to me are, and I think to refer to Darren, I think it's kind of, it's a different type of approval. It's saying we're accepting that something's a little different, but it's different than a variance, and really no new development should be applying for a variance, because then it says, well, you're self-created, and it just doesn't work. So we're thinking waivers and flexible regs way to achieve a new and more urban development is faster than us trying to develop urban regs. But over time, if we develop areas, and actually I'm going to throw up a slide real quick. In the old days, in 1992, oh, there it is, we had something called the Urban Form Study. And this graphic was done in 1992. This scenario was one of 5 different places for the county to go. And they said to the board, do you want to do activity nodes? Do you want to do activity centers? And Ruth, who works with OCR, worked on this project, as did my friend Kathy Gerard, who worked in planning. And this was one of the scenarios. And as you can see, they identified it activity centers where we would intensify. And ironically, Minto came in, and our Avenir came in, and West Palm blew up at the time. I think the only thing, there wasn't a lot going in downtown West Palm Beach in 1992, but you can see Del Rey, and they anticipated growth in these hubs. And this was a way that the county was thinking about things in the early 90s. But if we were to develop urban regs, we would, maybe look to the board to identify, do you want to identify activity centers within an unincorporated county? That's typically not been something that we've done, but it's theoretically possible. But yeah, that's the difference between waivers and variances. I think waivers are the way to go.
Yeah, I do too. And then on one of your slides, you showed where they had put townhomes or behind, adjacent to the shopping center. Why aren't they building on top of those buildings?
On top of the commercial?
Yeah. I mean, if you go to Europe and you go to other places, they utilize that space. It's not just an empty rooftop.
What we've heard in the URA is financing, and that the different developers want, but I don't know if it's true or not, but different developers, different financing, different mechanisms, and I guess with the amount of density that we're offering on the table, I think there's a critical mass that might force that up. But for, the density that came with this product of it didn't warrant digging up the plaza, I assume.
I mean, if you look, you look at that and you see how much space is available over the existing structures, and look what's dedicated, that's open for putting cars. It doesn't make sense. It's out of balance of what the priority should be. It looks like the priority is a place to put a car rather than a place to put people.
And we have very high parking requirements, and that's why we're looking at, those flex parking, because that is a lot of parking.
And then, I guess, and the last thing I made a note about was, we were talking about adaptability as things change. You were talking about the medical office that wasn't going to need parking, and so they're getting permitted, and to be able to, hopefully to accomplish that. But then what about the next owner that comes along and has a different vision of what they want to do with that property, but now you've entitled it one way, and how do you, I shouldn't say you, because it's all of us, how do we, as a society, as a community, how do we deal with that so that we don't end up with unintended consequences from those decisions? And we can adapt to the changes that are happening.
In this particular property, it's in the URA, and that's an area where they're envisioning more intensification and densification and pedestrian activity. So ultimately, if a new property owner went in and they couldn't fit, they might have to lop off a part of the building, or the person who's developing it and gonna operate it, and they're making an investment to be in that property for a long time, but that's a challenge that we'll have to face, that we might be approving things custom, and then if in the future there isn't another buyer that wants to do the same thing, there'll be, that'll be a challenge for us to do.
All right. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized, and then I think, is that you, Ramsey, that put your light on?
Yeah, I'll go off the commission.
Okay. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
I just want to say thank you for this and explaining everything. It made it much more clear, so I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I do love the idea of the urban and the suburban, and where we want to go with it, and just provide some housing for people. That's absolutely amazing. I would ask that when we are considering these codes, just to please consider, I have in my district for my constituents some great areas for this, but the ex-urban tier, I would love for if we could take that into consideration and just try to make it fit. Like my fellow commissioner was stating, she was making a clear point. We do now look at building heights and how far apart houses are. And I think anyone that's driven through the Loxahatchee acreage, Jupiter Farms areas could clearly tell you what belongs or what might look out of place. And then just to keep in mind also that the surrounding roads, so when we are putting all these units into the middle of an area, just making sure that the roads around it can support them, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi. So to build on Lisa's thinning of the code, we're trying to have it where a lot more things are done administratively, either under her signature or my signature, to get things moving a lot faster. She brought up Uptown Boca with the amount of variances. Literally, if they were changing a tenant, the traffic generation was the same, but they'd have to come in, do the site plan, all of that kind of stuff. We don't have the time for all of that, so we're trying to make it a way for us to be way more efficient and make it much more efficient for the developers to come in and change certain things. So that's part of the request from you to thin the code and make it way more simple.
All right. Any further questions or discussions on this item? Well, thank you very much. It's always very enlightening, although I'm thinking about something Commissioner Baxter said, and maybe I misunderstood what Tallahassee has done. Didn't they change the requirements that in terms of traffic and what we are allowed to do and what we're allowed to take into consideration? Isn't there some things that Tallahassee did to override local?
We used to have true concurrency, and then they've changed it to prop share, which Quasi can explain. Our traffic engineer.
Good morning. This is Quasi Bari from the Traffic Division. Yeah, the state legislature actually started legislation which is called prop share. And what that legislation said that if roadway is failing, the developer has the chance to improve that road or make that better, and the improvement, the cost of the improvement, they will have to pay a prop share for that improvement based on the impact of their project's impact. So, but they also said if the roadway is already failing, then they don't even have to pay prop share, and we cannot even stop that project from improving based on the traffic impacts of that project. This, just came in 2011, but before that, we had the true concurrency. That means that if the roadway is failing, then the developer has to, pay the full amount of widening the roadways or improving the intersections so that it met the traffic performance standards. But that policy is no longer there. Now they can only get by with just paying the prop share amounts. They don't have to make the entire improvements. And as I said, that the statute says that we cannot stop a project because of the traffic impacts only. We can stop it because of the incompatibility on any other, land use related factors, but not for traffic.
Right. I think that's an important distinction, and I think not only as a board member who sees these cases, but I think for the public to also understand, what was, what used to be and what I think probably people think are maybe common sense, that's the way you should do it, has been removed, and it is no longer a is although obviously the impact in the prop share piece still is, but if the road is already failing, that doesn't even exist anymore. So.
Correct.
Anyways, it's an important point. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right. Yes.
Quickly, I promise. Just to button this up, I wanted to bring up one point as we contemplate the code changes or we talk about density. We've had some of these discussions with the board already. It's a challenge writing from our level in the blind, if you will, not having the live examples and notwithstanding some of the pictures and great graphics and some information there. We don't want to create a situation where we go through a great exercise and find ourselves back doing more waivers and more things afterwards. So we will continue to challenge industry to tell us what do they see, where are their projects, what do they look like? And there's no one size fits all, recognize that, but so that we don't do it, and we're back before you again doing some of these relief exercises and going down that road. So you will hear that from us a lot, and we will challenge industry a lot to share those points with us where they see things, the very specific pieces of it, to do something as efficient as possible.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter, you recognize.
Thank you, Mayor. Where we can't help what was going on in 2011, currently, we've seen, as you've seen, on just 1 acre is the increase in density. And for clarification, I just want to keep in mind when we are looking at the code currently, and for my fellow commissioners, also keep in mind, please, that where we can't control what the developers have to pay for those roadways, but that we can look at density and how the roads are, if you would, just bring it to us to make sure we are aware of the surrounding roads. We can't make them pay for it, but it's a density of how many more people are using maybe roads that are not up to standards. Thank you.
All right, okay. We will move on. I think we have one more item on our, and that is, okay, so planning director, well, first we have to go to planning director. No comments? Okay. And executive director now.
Yes, so what we're trying to, it seems like the term of the day is housing and workforce housing and affordable housing. What we hear from industry a lot is that there's just no land. So what we're doing and working with FDO is we want to confirm board direction and also implement comp plan changes and code changes in order to allow civic pods that are technically unused because FDO doesn't need them, or when they cash out, a method to capture those lands for workforce and affordable housing and capture those funds. So we're just seeking board direction and initiation on a comp plan and ULDC code changes to get that done.
Commissioner Marino, you recognize.
I love this discussion. I am in favor of allowing civic pods to have affordable housing, but only when the civic pods, obviously, if the school system tells us they don't need a civic pod for a new school, then in essence we have a pod that is free. If that is going to be used for housing, 100% of the units that go on that pod have to be affordable housing. We're not in the business of making money for developers to do market housing on civic pods. So that is one of my directions, is that any housing that is on a civic pod, 100% of it has to be affordable housing. And in the future, I know you'll come back to us with that, but also, and I know that facilities has a list of properties that we own, and that's always what business is coming after us as well. Don't you have extra land that we can build on? And as we've seen the growth, as we've seen this 1,000 people a day that come into Florida, and trust me, they're not going to the Panhandle, they're coming here. We need to make sure that we do keep enough property for the county so that we can continue the level of service that we have. If we get rid of all the excess land that we have, we will have to, our constituents will get a lower level of service. So I want to make sure that we do a really accurate inventory, and we do have a global outlook on this, but our civic pods need to be protected. If it's going to be given up, it's got to be 100% housing, 100% affordable / workforce housing. And I want to remind people just exactly what affordable and workforce housing is. For everybody watching this and for all of you in the audience, it's so that your children can come back here and live, your grandchildren can come back here and live, so that our entry-level police and fire and first responders and nurses and teachers have a place to live. It is for everyone. And I just want to remind people of that. It's so people all have a safe and dignified place to live. And I'm done with my litany. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think that one of the things I would like to see in this is a potential land trust to use as land trust land. So that way it stays in perpetuity as the affordable or workforce housing that it's being used for, and that since the land was acquired by the county through other development, that would then take the land costs out of developing those properties, which I think may be really important for the folks that are trying to build these and maintain, because obviously there's maintenance costs that go along with these as well. And if you think about trying to properly maintain, upkeep of a property, if obviously the lower the per unit cost, because the rents are capped based on their income categories, it'll provide a bigger buffer, if you will, for the people that are managing and running this property. So if and I think obviously there could be a way to acquire the land, but I would think I think the land trust makes a lot of sense for this type of use. All right. Any other comments, thoughts on this? All right. Well, we look forward to having you bring that back to us. And
Yeah, it's going to be a task, but we can work closely with FDO, and there's a lot of other things that have to go into it. So that's why we just wanted to confirm board direction and initiation, because there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep, understood. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Assistant County Administrator, you have any comments?
None.
Okay. And we will now go to our commissioners, and let us start with Commissioner Barnett. Do you have any? No comment. Commissioner Woodward.
I just would like to say, hope I'm not stepping on your toes, but Honda Classic is this week, and I'm sorry, you can talk about it too. I'm going to be there, so it's exciting, and spring training starting, so it's the time of year where sports are in full ramp. I'm sure she's going to talk about it more, but hope I can see everyone there. Delray Open was last week. It's an exciting time for sports in Palm Beach County, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Okay, so yes, you stole my thunder. And it's funny too, because I was just going to pull out my badge, because you all have probably seen me wear this badge every day, and it has Honda Classic on it. And I'm going to retire this lanyard because this is the last year of this tournament being sponsored by Honda. And this is Honda is the longest running sponsor on the PGA Tour at 42 years. We've been at PGA National for 17. We were at Mirasol for several years before that. So it's been a very huge economic driver for our county. We are not losing the tournament. I just want everybody to know that. We are going to get a new title sponsor. So look for the future to have that notification. But I do encourage everyone to go out there. There is so much, and it's not just about golf. It's really about an event that happens in Palm Beach Gardens. And there's a lot of things for kids to do there. We have a lot of other ancillary things that go on. But what's also important about the Honda Classic and about any other PGA Tour event is that it's actually a nonprofit. It's a charity. Honda Classic Cares delivered over $6 million back to nonprofits last year, and we look forward to exceeding that record this year too. I've been an ambassador with the Honda since 17 years, and what we do in the community and all the people we help has been a wonderful and gratifying thing. So I encourage everyone to go out to the Honda, enjoy yourselves, be safe. There's plenty of parking, and yes, it's actually, I can walk to the tournament, which is really kind of cool since I live at PGA National. But it is a wonderful event, and I do, again, encourage everyone to go. And on that, have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter.
I'll make it brief. I just wanted to say thank you again for what an amazing job you guys did with this presentation and just making it very simple, and your hard work going forward, just putting this all together. It's very useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And let me go ahead and thank staff. You guys do an outstanding job and make our job so much easier. So thank you all and your staffs very much for that. I will be heading up to Montgomery, Alabama tomorrow or tonight. We are going to be delivering some soil that was taken from Delray Beach. This is at the site of one of the two lynchings that happened in Palm Beach County in the last century, and it's going up to the Equal Justice Initiative. We'll be delivering that up there. So it's going to be quite an honor to go with the coalition and deliver that. And also to announce that on March 2nd, I'm sponsoring a town hall, that'll be held at the South County Civic Center from 10 a.m. to noon. It's going to be a town hall on anti-Semitism and hate speech. We've got a great panel of experts to talk about it and help us understand what's happening and why. And Michael Williams from WPTV is going to be moderating the panel, so it'll also be live streamed. But I am happy to invite the public is invited. There is no registration required, but it's an important topic, and pleased to be able to be involved in bringing this forward for our community at this time. So with that, wishing everybody a great weekend. Thank you all, and this meeting is adjourned.
I got to retire my language.